Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you?
Where are you, Scooby?
Got some work to do now.
Time for a Scooby snack?
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you?
I actually came here today in a Good Times machine. It's like a 76 GMC van, but it's got shag carpeting in the inside and round windows in the back instead of square. They're bubble windows, too. Pretty neat. The Good Times machine.
You know we got a mystery to solve.
Got a futon back there, air conditioning, home unit in one of the side windows. It's great.
Have yourself a Scooby snack.
That's number 9, Mr. Drew Brees. Embracing pickleball. Embracing pickleball. You got to love Drew Brees. And I'm not knocking pickleball. You want to go play pickleball and get a workout? I'm willing to play pickleball. I have yet to play it, but I've hit the tennis ball. So, you know, kind of in between ping pong and tennis. Get a little physical workout. But Drew Brees selling this pro league pickleball thing, man, it's just like the NFL. There's competition here, fans. He's got that smile on his face. I love Drew Brees, but really? You know, the funny thing about Drew Brees is a lot of folks were all upset about his comments about, you know, the flag and patriotism and things like that. And then some folks took it really wrong and thought Brees was like anti-black, which is utterly ridiculous. Just silly, beyond silly. But if you really want to critique Brees or be critical, he is just like the dorkiest dude when it comes to like promoting stuff. It's just that good golly kind of thing that he kind of gets away with. The bank things, I love the bank, the B1 Bank. I thought it was like a Saturday Night Live skit when I first saw it. I'm not kidding you. I was like, there's no B1 Bank. This is like some joke. I'm trying to figure out where Brees is going with this. Does this turn into like a Jimmy John spot? But B1 Bank's real. A bank that's growing, expanding big time. Brees is one of the partners. Anyway, Corey Johnson with you on a Friday afternoon. I love number 9. I love Drew Brees. But folks criticizing him for wrong reasons, like he's anti-black, really? No, criticize him for being, 1950s America. Howdy doody. Anyway, a Friday. Pickleball, it's fantastic. The competition's like the NFL. Pickleball, it's like the NFL. It's a Friday. 2 big hours coming your way. A Fantasy Friday edition. Thank goodness. I was talking to somebody today over at Lebanon's Cafe saying, thank God for Friday, man. Every day, I mean, you get caught up in all the craziness going on. And you get cynical, get jaded, get down that negative path. Before you know it, you're riding the log flume ride, the roller coaster, the jet, full speed down that worthless negative path. No, I mean, this job, it isn't tough. It's not hard. It's like, man, it's a really tough job. It's a job. It's not easy, but it's not hard. They're topics that just throw themselves out there. You have to address them. In New Orleans, a lot of them can be negative. There's a lot of negative stuff in New Orleans, Louisiana, politics and the like. So it's easy to go down that negative path. And it's necessary to get that information out there. But also, talking to someone today at Lebanon's Cafe at lunch, they were talking about just New Orleans and just what a great city. And no, it's like a love affair. I have a love/dislike affair with New Orleans and Louisiana because of the stuff that we're second rate about, that we accept, that we shouldn't. We should be first class, world class. We'd all benefit. But a lot of folks just don't want to step up to the plate. A lot of folks like their life like it is. They like it easy. They like that we're sort of not part of America in a way, and you can kind of just sort of disappear and be lazy and, hunting and fishing season, 3 for 1 at the bar and Mardi Gras ago. Man, all is good in New Orleans. Nothing else matters. Doesn't matter if your kids get a good education, if crime's bad, if infrastructure's broken. economy's not working, young folks aren't moving here. None of that matters. No, it's tough sometimes, but I love it. It's a great place. I'd be somewhere else doing talk radio in another city right now. Had opportunities in the past and just didn't take them. Could have gone to Houston, Denver, Atlanta, Nashville, on air, doing what I do here in those cities. And I don't have regrets. Sometimes I'm like, maybe I should have done that 10, 15 years ago. Could have grown myself more than staying put. But also I wouldn't be here, the city and state I love. But so many problems. We're going to tell it like it is every day. We're not going to back off of the responsibility. Prepared every day, tell it like it is every day. But no, thank goodness for Fantasy Friday, because we get Fletcher Mackel on in a few minutes, and he's absolutely terrible. Makes me look good. I bring him on to make me look better. All right, I love getting Fletcher on. He's not terrible. He's really good. Opinions, knowledgeable. Fletcher Mackel will join us, and we're not going to be talking about day 5 of the Jason Williams trial. I'm going to fill you in on that. Just not going to go down that path too much today on a Fantasy Friday. Michael Hecht's going to join us from Greater New Orleans Inc. They had a grand slam home run. That NOLA Coalition. I'm going to talk to Michael about, can this be expanded into other things that black, white, old, young, Republican, Democrat, rich, poor, all New Orleanians, this gumbo coalition you've put together, Michael, you and some others. Is there a way to we have other common goals, commonality. Let's go with that too. Let's pressure the council and the mayor to go with this. That's what happened. That coalition got the council moving at rapid speed like they should have been, with a sense of urgency. And although it was a squeaky 4-2 victory, it was a win nonetheless. And all that facial recognition technology, all that 2020 policing technology gets put to use. The NOPD gets their handcuffs removed. So no, that was a big day. That was huge yesterday. We'll talk with Michael Hecht about that coalition and can that take on other New Orleans problems. Ironic, Jason Williams was the council person that came up with the ordinance for banning the use of this technology. He, of course, is the city's DA now, and not too into those woke politics of Jason Williams. Neither is that NOLA Coalition, the Gumbo Coalition. The opposite. Hey, all that crap Jason Williams came up with, like not using the technology that everyone else uses. Let's start using that. And folks that want to say, man, facial recognition technology doesn't work. A photo doesn't work. That's amazing to me. That'd be like the name and information of the suspect doesn't work. Handcuffs on a suspect don't work. How can like a spoke in the wheel, it's video of a crime going down, verification, maybe it's showing you who it was, blatantly, obviously, doesn't work, not proven to work? What planet are you living on? Just excuses. It's going to be abused. You're the lawmakers. Make sure it isn't abused. But thank God a 4-2 count. That was huge. We'll talk to Michael Hecht about that on this Fantasy Friday. But it is ironic. Jason Williams, the then council person that came up with that ordinance, he's now the DA. And his ordinance gets tossed. And he might be getting tossed in the clink. Day 5 of the Jason Williams federal tax fraud trial, a week in. Timothy Moore, the IRS agent, a little more stable, cut and dried, more black and white answers, not the Henry Timothy, the tax preparer, bumbling and fumbling through his testimony. So, the defense didn't just have at Timothy Moore, the IRS agent, or Bridget Bartholomew, who was just talking about lots of cash around that office, lots of cash. Jason Williams, lots of cash in the safe, dealt in cash, requested clients to pay in cash. Lots of cash, undocumented cash. That was from Bartholomew, his ex-wife. More, the IRS guy said. Total false amount on taxes for Jason Williams, over $760,000. Over $760,000. J.P. Morrell, good and bad. Good? Well, that was bad, I should say. He didn't vote for the technology, for the police to be able to use the technology as a councilman. That wasn't good. The good yesterday, J.P. Morrell did, capping LaToya the Destroyer, any public official in New Orleans. An unofficial trip, $1,000. If it's not official city business, $1,000 you get. That's it.
The Port of New Orleans Napoleon Terminal is nearly doubling in size, with 4 new gantry cranes being installed and over $100 million being invested. That means lots of new jobs, port traffic, and tax dollars for the city. The Port of New Orleans, your port.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool side. NOLAAC.com, your cool side.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
What actually lasts a lifetime? Not much, but at Helm Paint, we have something guaranteed to last a lifetime. Benjamin Moore's Regal Select. This paint and primer in one offers cutting-edge waterborne technology, smooth application, and long durability. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, your New Orleans paint store.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anyway. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, the premier day spa experience, now with 4 area locations. Canal at Carrollton, on the North Shore and Slidell, in Baton Rouge by the Mall of Louisiana, and now in Metairie, West Esplanade at Transcontinental. The Woodhouse Day Spa.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
This is what Drew Brees thinks about Super Discount Store in Chalmette. Actually, Brees doesn't think at all about Super Discount Store, but they do have the lowest prices allowed by Louisiana law for beer, alcohol, and wine. Super Discount Store in Chalmette. Super Discount Store!
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com. Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
For home surveillance, it's Tommy's Lock and Alarms. With high-definition night vision surveillance systems, letting you see what's going on. Home surveillance that's smart, safe, secure. Tommy's Lock and Alarms. Google them.
When you think of Fury's restaurant in Metairie, you think about fresh local fish like flounder, snapper, and speckled trout, fried, broiled, or grilled. Fury's restaurant in Metairie. on that one, Jason. I'm stumped. Don't tell me. Wow. That's Johnny Sketch and the Dirty Notes? Wow, our trumpet player's crushing it. Is that Johnny Sketch on the trumpet? Wow. I was going to guess like James Andrews. Little smooth for Kermit. Wow. Anyway, Friday afternoon, Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Corey Johnson back at you. Yeah, you right. It's a little after 4:20. That means another edition of Fridays with Fletcher Mackel, Channel 6, WDSU Sports joins us again on the program. What up?
Not a lot, Corey. How are you?
Doing well. How about you?
Yeah, well, good. Besides your little strained voice there, all is well. Yeah.
You know, saying. Hey, Fletch, did you see the tweet response to, I don't know who Art Jarrett is. I'm assuming he's a new meteorologist at WDSU, or maybe he's an old meteorologist. I have no idea. But I saw he tweeted something today, and I replied. Did you see my reply?
No, I didn't.
Oh, geez. Is Art Jarrett a WDSU meteorologist?
Yes, he is.
Oh, he's got
I saw his nice tweet about my brother and I. I did not see your response.
His tweet has you and your brother standing in the studio. It says, two of the nicest gents in the business, at Fletcher WDSU, at Travers WDSU. Then I replied, I have to disagree with you. I think these guys are mean-spirited, vindictive, just real jerks. I do not like them, Sam, I am. These two guys are into shoplifting and arson. Not cool.
Great. Good work.
That was my tweet reply. What do you think? You know what stinks about tweet? You know what stinks about all this stuff? Inflection and sarcasm doesn't work on Twitter all that well, Fletch.
It's one of those things where I always joke about that you can't tell what there needs to be like a sarcasm font for Twitter.
I swear.
Like a special font of I'm joking, I'm being sarcastic because, and look, it's like everything in life. You read something and it needs to have context with what was the inflection, what led up to it, what did they mean by that, and especially on Twitter when people are friends or joking and it just, people get like very hypersensitive about that.
Well, if Art Jarrett comes up to you and is like, hey, dude, what did this Care Johnson guy do? What did y'all do to him? You'll know what it's about.
Care. I like that, care.
Well, I don't know. I'm sure Art's going to see Kaare and not know what the hell that is.
True. Probably so, like most people.
Yep. How long's Art Jarrett been a meteorologist at Channel 6 now?
Probably, I want to say he probably started last year. Either, Ida threw me off. So either right before or right after Ida is when he started. So he's probably been there either just at a year or maybe 10 months or something like that.
After the chick that had like kind of the military cut tight up against the ears, Jacqueline, I don't know, dude. I swear.
Yeah, she was great. Craylin was amazing.
No, I bet she was. I check your stuff out online. I swear, I couldn't tell you who anchors 468. I did News with a Twist for a decade. I don't know if I watched News with a Twist in my life. I'm serious. I did editorials.
Okay. I mean, look, here's the thing.
You don't sit there and listen to my show from 4 to 6 every day. You know what I mean? I watch your stuff online. I catch you. I know what you're doing. I know your opinions.
So, yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good.
So I'm not knocking the other girl. I just didn't know her. But I remember when she left, the newspaper made a big deal. Like, she was like at Channel 6 for like 9 years. I'm like, my God.
She was. And she was great. She was great. And like I said, Art's a good guy. And we've got, some other meteorologists. But you're right. Like, the longer people are here, even if you don't watch consistently all the different stations or the weather or this, if the longer people are here, you kind of figure out who they are. You may see them in passing. I've been here 20 years now next month. So even if people aren't devout watchers, I think they've figured out that there's two of us and we're twins and things like that. Whereas when we first started, a year in, I think people didn't realize it's like, oh, there's two of them. And now I think most people know.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Buddy D was always like, man, it doesn't matter if they're talking good or talking bad about you, Corey, just as long as they're talking about you. And I remember when he first told me that, I'm like, why would you want someone talking bad about you, buddy, is what I'm thinking. But he meant was not everybody's going to agree with you. It's funny. I bump into people, and most of the time they like you and your brother, but there's some folks that don't. There's not like an indifferent. There's not like a middle. People have opinions on you guys. Most guys, I love the Mac. Oh, so affable. I love those guys. They're down to earth, professional, whatever. And then every now, well, you're just like some jerk. And then I pseudo defend you. I act like I don't know you, or maybe they don't recognize I'm in the business. And I'm like, why don't you like them? And I get them talking, and it's just the most irrational, goofy stuff. It's funny.
Yeah, let me say this. That, the thing about social media is that I think in the world, like, most people are genuinely good and are like mostly courteous to each other, even if you have different beliefs.
Of course.
But it's amazing what social media has done to make people kind of like angry and polarizing and outspoken. There was this great little video, and I still love it. And it says social media and reality. And it's two dogs, like two Dobermans, through the fence, and they're barking at each
but
other.
Can't get to each other.
What's up?
But can't get to each other. They're barking at each other.
They're barking through the fence, and they're snarling, and they're spitting, and they're barking. And then they open the fence, and they look at each other, and they sniff, and then start like licking each other as if it's okay. And so I think sometimes people say things on social media, or do things on social media, or just say things in general when they don't know people, and then when they get to meet them or know them, that there's a common courtesy and respect level.
No, totally. No, you're right. I'm in O'Brien's restaurant on the West Bank when it was open. John Hilario's son's in there. I walk by the table. This guy just stops me. You're Corey Johnson? I go, yeah. He goes, yeah, I'm Johnny Hilario or Terry Hilario or something. All right. John Hilario, I think, is just worthless. I dog this guy like I dog Edwin Edwards or Bill Jefferson. Just think he's what's bad about Louisiana politics, the poster boy. And I was just like, yeah. And I go, how you doing, man? He goes, good. And I go, I said, pretty nice of you just to stop and say hello, especially what I say about your dad all the time. And he goes, oh, man, that's your opinion. That's what you do for a living. I just wanted to say hello. You want to talk sometime about what I think about my dad, whatever. I'm glad to do it. He's very nice. But I went like, screw you, you jerk. He went like, you're always jumping on my dad. And so, that was kind of like the fence. It was like the social media thing. But unlike social media, the dogs never do get to meet and sniff. It's everybody from afar, sometimes with fake names. I'm face to face. That's what I always respected about, like, the sports media guys that are being critical like you. You'll have some editorial or some comment, and then the next day there's a microphone in Peyton's face with you. And you're like, ready to take the crap from Coach if he fires it at me. There's a lot of folks that aren't like that way. But yeah, in real life, Fletch, you, me, and the people that do it right, the fence is open, and you got to deal with the opposite. I mean, your old sports cohort, Lee Zirk, your brother. I mean, your brother, Travers, is a saint of a dude, just like you. But then he's crunching some politician or city contract. Why are you knocking on my door at 11 p.m., Mackel? I don't know. Why were you taking the money? So you've got a job to do. And when you can do it and then still show up in front of the people, that says something. Social media, it's a lot of barking, and there's never the gate opened, Yeah.
No, you're right. It's true. And again, I think sometimes once people start having conversations, and once it's just like, look, I love hearing other sides of the conversation. I'm always open to, hey, I want to hear your opinion.
Exactly.
Maybe you'll teach me something I don't know, or convince me of something I haven't heard before. And again, when we do that in face-to-face human form, it's so much better than a yelling at each other or like insulting somebody on social media. Look, we may not agree. There's people I don't agree with politically. There's people I don't agree with sports, but yet we are good friends because we can talk in a respectful way. Social media sometimes has taken away.
Oh no, totally. It's just a pit bull fight, like you said.
And the people who don't act appropriately, there's people who don't act appropriately on social media that would act appropriately in person. The people who don't act appropriately in person are the people that you look at and you say, look, this is what's wrong with fandom in sports. And there is an underbelly to it. But I do think the majority of people and fans and people are just good people. And sometimes they get caught up in social media and then if they had to say things face to face, they just wouldn't, I
got a response on Twitter. Bro, what exactly is this grudge you have with these nice fellow De La Salle boys? Spill the tea. I got to respond to that. I could put in there, they're worthless bastards. They're SOBs. I hate them. You don't know about them robbing a bank. You don't know about them hurting children. But that'll be taken seriously, like you beat up some 12-year-old kid the other day at the park, So I'll have to just say, dude, I love the Mackels. I just like playing around. I'm going to have to go that route. Yeah. That stinks.
True.
It stinks.
I would rather you say that. That makes it much easier and nicer.
What are we going to do when we come back? Talk about your New Orleans Saints football squad? What, 5-6 days till camp?
Yeah, Wednesday. So what is that, 5 days away?
Yep.
So.
All right, we'll talk about that. Fletcher Mackel's with us from WDSU Sports. Corey Johnson with you. It is a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. And when we come back, the nonsense is over with. We're actually going to talk sports with Fletcher Mackel. Don't move.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Enjoy outdoor dining on the streetcar line, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, the finest in Middle Eastern cuisine, Carrollton at Jeanette, Lebanon's Cafe.
For home surveillance, it's Tommy's Lock and Alarm. With smart home technology, control lights, locks, cameras, thermostat, and your alarm, all from your phone or laptop. Smart, safe, secure. Tommy's Lock and Alarms. Google them.
Kanye West was seen shopping at Super Discount Store in Chalmette.
I am Shakespeare in the flesh. Walt Disney, Nike, Google.
Okay, I think Kanye was talking about something else entirely. Super Discount Store on Paris Road in Chalmette.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Come to Fausto's Italian Bistro. Age-old Italian recipes like the calamari fritti or spaghetti and meatballs. Lunch Monday to Friday, dinner Monday to Saturday. 530 Vets, a block before Dorignax. Fausto's Italian Bistro.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, the cool spot.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
The Port of New Orleans Napoleon Terminal is nearly doubling in size, with 4 new gantry cranes being installed and over $100 million being invested. That means lots of new jobs, port traffic, and tax dollars for the city. The Port of New Orleans, your port.
Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson with you on a Friday. Fletcher Mackel's with us. Fridays with Fletch. All right, Fletch, before we move on, the guy said, bro, what exactly is this grudge you have with those nice fellow De La Salle boys? Spill the tea. My reply, haha, just messing with them. Those are my boys, good guys. But what's fun about that? Isn't it more fun to say Fletcher Travers robbed a bank just 4 days ago, armed robbery, wore masks of other stations' peeps? Fletch was Angela Hill, Travers was Nash Roberts.
Whatever,
Jeez.
as long as you're saying it, we all know it's a joke. If you write it, it becomes more like, is it a joke? Is he serious? What's he talking about?
Yeah. No, I know.
As we know now, people see things on social media. No, some people will believe anything they see on social media. It's just crazy.
Yeah, no. Well, the old thing used to be, Fletch, I mean, you read it in the paper, it's a fact. You know, you say it on TV or radio, maybe it's not going to be believed if you read it. And a lot of that, you know, dude, I saw it on the internet. That still applies. And what you just said about social media, but also I think those others are pretty solid. The social media, when I think a lot of folks read stuff and go, dude, it was on social media. I don't know if that's true or not. You need verification, kind of. I don't know. That's how I know how you and I approach it, but I think it's got to go beyond the journalistic approach. And I think a lot of people approach it that way. Anyway. You ready to get into sports?
I think you're right. I think you're right.
You ready to get into sports, or you want to tell me somewhere good you ate first?
No, we can just jump into just sports if you would like.
All right. Saints reporting next week. Fletch, every year, I mean, all the time, everyone gets optimistic. I mean, 1968, 69, 70, every year. You're going to believe in J.D. Roberts. I knew a guy that covered sports for 5 years and then got into news for like 50. And I asked him why. And he said, I was sick of covering the lies. And I was like, what do you mean? Every year the coach is telling you they're going to be good. We're going to be great. We're going to do this. Fans are optimistic, all of that. I hate to say it. I don't think I get sucked into that. I think I'm pretty good about being fair and objective and buck the trend all the time of what maybe the fans or the popular thought might be if the facts or just how I feel lead me in another direction. You know, I think the Saints are going to miss Sean Payton. He's cutting-edge coach, proven winner. But I think Allen's going to be proven to be a winner. And Sean Payton had an offensive, minded approach and a team that was designed offensively. Allen has a team that is, he's defensive-minded approach. He's got a team that's got a very good defense that could even be better this year than last year. And I think the offense has more potential than most of Sean Payton's defense is having potential. Am I making any sense? So I'm kind of optimistic. Did any of that make any sense?
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I hate to say I agree with you, but I agree with you. I think that it all made sense to me. And again, I get back to your cynical news person that you mentioned and said, I got tired of the lies. Well, look, nobody or very few professional sports organizations in high-stakes win-now pro sports are going into full-blown rebuilds where they know for years they're going to be bad. So and that's one of the great things about the NFL is hope reigns supreme, and teams can go from worst to first. So I love it when people say these coaches lie. They all think they're going to be good. Yes, all 32 teams this year think they have a chance to win and do something special. That's what makes it great. If they didn't, you'd probably say, what's wrong with you? But I'm opining on your comment of somebody saying, I got tired of the lies. It's like, well, nobody gets into pro sports going, I stink. I shouldn't be here. We're going to milk them for all we're worth and never win.
Yeah, of course. But the Saints defense is like, I don't want to say it's equal to Peyton's offenses, but Allen's defense this year has the potential to be sort of equal to the average Peyton offense. Very, very good. And I think Allen's offense has the potential to be better than most of Peyton's defenses, which were mediocre to sometimes lousy. Just lately, they've gotten good. The first 10, 12 years of Peyton, those defenses were terrible.
Getting back to your point, I think the team top to bottom could be more complete than any team Sean Payton had. Even when the Saints won the Super Bowl, number one team offensively in the NFL, it was technically, if you look at the Saints Super Bowl championship team, at the time, it was the worst rated defense to ever win a Super Bowl championship because they were in the bottom half of the league. In total defense, they were something like 18, 19, or 20. So they were like in the bottom half of the league. I certainly think that you are 100% correct, that you are right about this defense maybe being top 10.
Exactly.
Definitely top half of the league.
Definitely top
offensively. Look,
quality.
They don't have to be. They may not be the number under Sean Payton and Drew Brees. They were a top 5 offense every year they were here. Even in those waning Brees years, they were still one of the most efficient and effective offenses. They may not be a top 3 to 5 offense, but if their defense, let's just say, finishes 9 in total defense and their offense could be 10 to 15, then I think you're right. I think from a team aspect, top to bottom, it could be a more complete team than Sean Payton ever had.
Yeah, Sean Payton, the Super Bowl defense was, attacked QBs and all that, pretty good at that, had some depth on the D-line, rotating players in. They were decent. They got better as the playoffs went on than during the regular season. But there was some atrocious Sean Payton defenses. I mean, you remember one year the Saints led the NFL most yards in NFL history, and the very next year they gave up the most yards in NFL history. So one of the best offenses ever, one of the worst defenses ever. I do think there's a lot more balance. And you bring in those numbers into play. I never even thought about that. Yeah, it's probably going to be a top 10 defense for sure. I think I'd be sort of disappointed if they're not in the top third of the NFL defensively. And then I think it's got the potential to be, I think at worst, kind of a middle-of-the-road offense, like, the back end of the team. I don't think they're going to be in the 20s offensive. They're going to be 29th passing or whatever. I think they're going to be in the teens. And if Jameis Winston gets it going, Kamara doesn't get suspended or comes back quickly and plays well, they could be in the low teens or something. So if you got an offense around 15th, sort of middle of the league, and you got a top 10 D, you can go far in 2022 NFL.
I think you're 100% correct. And look, that's the thing I keep telling people. I look at this year's team, and I see a team very similar to San Francisco last year. And people shrug when I say that. San Francisco was in the NFC Championship game last year. San Francisco went on the road and beat Green Bay and Dallas last year in the playoffs. San Francisco had one of the best defenses. They had an awesome offensive line. They have an amazing playmaker in Deebo Samuel, and they had Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback, who can have moments of excellence, but who can have moments that weren't so great, but he still was a solid quarterback. Look, I hope Jameis Winston becomes the next great thing in the NFL. I just don't know if his ceiling is ever going to get there again. But I certainly look at this team and say, man, oh man, this defense, Demario Davis still has a lot of tread on those tires. Cam Jordan, I still think, has a couple of good years left. You look at all the talent they have on defense with Marshawn Lattimore and Tyrann Mathieu and up front defensively on the line. Then offensive line-wise, they're strong. Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas coming back, Olave, Jarvis Landry. I think they remind me a lot of San Francisco last year, a complete team that once they get into the playoffs, they can go beat anybody. I think the days of thinking Jameis Winston has to pass, there's probably going to be a game that he has to win, but he doesn't have to go out and win 17 games for the Saints this year and win every one and put teams on his back.
Yep.
He just has to be a good, a top half of the league quarterback, a quarterback that is top 16, and I think he can do that. Look, I'm not trying to say he's going to be Brady or Rodgers, the guys who, have won the last couple of MVPs and have been right there for it, or he's going to be the next Josh Allen. I hope he is.
No, but if he can be a Bobby Hebert plus, like a game manager, and take it up another level and show the talent and skill he's got, the long ball, the running, all of that. No, I think there's a chance that they could be really good.
This is the thing that I tell people all the time. When I tell people Jimmy Garoppolo, they scoff at me. Jimmy Garoppolo quarterbacked the team to a Super Bowl. Jimmy Garoppolo quarterbacked the team to the NFC Championship game.
Exactly.
If you're the Saints and Jameis ends up getting to a Super Bowl or getting to an NFC Championship game, we'll be putting him on floats at Mardi Gras and comparing him to Jimmy Garoppolo is not an insult. It's a compliment to me.
Exactly. I agree. There are three kind of quarterbacks in the NFL. There's the top tier, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning types. There's that second tier that's hoping to get there, but you can win with. They're serviceable. And then there's the last tier, the third tier that you can't win with. Fletcher, they're not starting caliber NFL QBs. There's about 20 of those in the world, and Garoppolo's one of them. He ain't in the top 10, but he's in the top 20. No, you're right on the money. I'd take Garoppolo in a second if I were the Saints. Real quick, we got like 30 seconds before we break. I like that. If Jameis Winston gets banged up for, got someone, the bench QB has to come in, finish the game, maybe start a game, the next game. I love Andy Dalton on this roster. Are you kidding me?
I think Andy Dalton, look, it's Jameis' team, and I want Jameis to have a lot of success.
Totally.
But Andy Dalton, if he has a chance to play, could potentially resurrect his career as a starter because I think he's the quarterback that fits this offense maybe best. The kind of the quick decisions, quick hitch passes, let your playmakers make plays. I think Andy Dalton's a perfect backup for this. It's Jameis' team, and I want Jameis to play well and lead this team to the promised land.
No, of course.
But if he can't, I think Andy Dalton is as good of a backup.
How many seasons did Dalton start for the Bengals? How many seasons did he start for the Bengals? A decade worth? Something like that? Come on. Exactly.
Three-time Pro Bowler, made like 4 trips to the playoffs, just couldn't win in the playoffs.
Coming right back.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see. What about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamarck team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamarck Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
Come to Fausto's Italian Bistro. Age-old Italian recipes like the calamari fritti or spaghetti and meatballs. Lunch Monday to Friday, dinner Monday to Saturday. 530 Vets, a block before Dorignax. Fausto's Italian Bistro.
The Port of New Orleans Napoleon Terminal is nearly doubling in size, with 4 new gantry cranes being installed and over $100 million being invested. That means lots of new jobs, port traffic, and tax dollars for the city. The Port of New Orleans, your port.
River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot.
Rouse's Markets means convenience. Every one of our 65 locations opens at 7 a.m., some at 6:30, and they're open until 10 p.m., with some staying open till 11 or even midnight. Convenience. Rouse's Markets. Tastes like home.
Recently, Kim Kardashian was seen at Super Discount Store in Chalmette.
Let's party.
Can you think of any other celebrities that won't sue us? Super Discount Store in Chalmette. The lowest prices allowed by Louisiana law on wine, alcohol, and cold beer. 3235 Paris Road.
Have a painting project but can't decide on the perfect color? At Helm Paint and Decorating, we offer half-pint paint samples in any Benjamin Moore color for under $5, so you can test potential paint colors before investing in a full gallon.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
The city's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa with 4 area locations: New Orleans, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and Metairie. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. NOLA.woodhousespas.com.
Which Metro New Orleans area restaurant made CNN's top 50 in America and ThrillList.com's top 25 and has served presidents at the White House for over 40 years? Trey Yen in Mandeville.
Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson back at you. How about some Trey Yen tonight for dinner? They open in 8 minutes. Gourmet Chinese cuisine tonight for dinner. 25 short minutes from Lakeside Mall to the front door of Trey Yen in Mandeville. No driving on the North Shore. You cross that Causeway Bridge, immediately hook a left, you're at Trey Yen in Mandeville. And you folks on the Causeway Bridge, how about bringing home a big to-go order on a Friday night? Mom, Dad, the kids will love it. I got the phone number, curbside delivery at Trey Yen. They'll walk it right out to your car. 985-626-4476. 985-626-4476. Trey Yen in Mandeville. So good. Fletcher Mackel's with us. Another edition of Fridays with Fletch. Fletch, any final thoughts about your New Orleans Saints? Over, under, it's probably a little early to get into that. Haven't seen preseason game or anything, but, a win-loss, 17-game schedule. I'm thinking maybe a 9-8, a 10-7. I hate to be so optimistic. The rest of the country is not, but I think the defense is going to be good. I think the coach is very solid. And if Jameis Winston plays well, sky's the limit.
Yeah, look, I agree. I think 10-7. I think 9-8 may be underselling them a little bit. Now, look, we don't know what injuries are going to happen or what teams. Every year there's teams that rise. Nobody was picking the Bengals to go to the Super Bowl last year. And so, yet there they were. So there's always going to be surprises, and there'll be surprise teams that fall from the good graces. I think the Saints, though, after what they dealt with last year, I look at this roster and say this is a 10-win team. Now, look, maybe they surprise and they win 12. That would be crazy good. I don't think they're going to be crazy bad, though. I think their low water mark is probably 9-8. I think their high water mark is probably 11-6. I just really think they're going to end up 10-7. They're going to end up in the playoffs, and I think they can make some noise and win some games. I still think the Rams, the Bucks, and the Packers are the 3 best teams in the NFC. But I think the Saints are right there with anyone else. Cowboys, Cardinals, whoever else you want to throw at me in that conversation, Eagles. I think I can make an argument for the Saints as the fourth best team in the NFC, and I think they're going to finish 10-7.
I forgot the Vegas over-under. Do you remember it?
It's like 8.5.
Yeah. Yep. Wow. Right down the middle, 500.
Right.
8.5. Yeah, that makes sense for a national perspective. I was saying 9 or 10. You're saying 10. So it ain't like we're saying 11 or 12. We're pretty close. Fletcher Mackel's with us. We'll do it backwards with LSU. We'll start with that. I think they're over under 7. I don't know how people bet. That's exactly where I'd have it, Fletch. That's just a couple of, subpar 500 and below seasons. Ed Ogeron just decimating the program the last few years, all kind of problems. It's not a reload. It's a rebuild with some positives in place. The coach just seems like the perfect elixir. You had emotional, shoot from the hip Ogeron, and now you've got this more northern guy, logical, kind of, follow the brain more than the stomach or emotion, maybe. Kind of the perfect fix for this LSU team. What do you think for LSU? That 7-5, that's exactly where I'd have them, somewhere right there.
Yeah, I'll say this. I was talking with my brother about LSU. I think 8-4 is what they should go. I think 8-4 for Brian Kelly's first year after, look, the last 2 years they went 5-5 and 6-7. So it's not like he's walking into some ready national championship made
No
program.
way, the opposite.
But let me say this though too. This is still LSU. And this is a guy in Brian Kelly that won a ton at Notre Dame and played for in the playoffs twice, played for one national championship, made the playoffs with the new format once. And you also paid him $10 million a year. 6-6 is not good enough. You could have kept that Ogeron and gone 6-6, or gone and hired somebody else.
You could have hired someone else and gone 6-6. You're right.
So my thing is this. I get it that this isn't a 1-year deal for LSU, and we're talking about it in the vacuum of 1 year. Even on a 1-year scale, 6-6, 7-5, 6-6 is unacceptable.
No, I think you're making great points. No, and if the goal is this is your guy and it's the right choice, then you're right. 6-6 is unacceptable. My 7-5, or what Vegas says, is kind of unacceptable. 8-4 would be like, good job, coach.
Yes.
Good job. 9-3 would be 9-3 would be like outstanding job. But if you go 8-4, Fletch, that means next year you're 9 or 10, and then year 3 of Kelly with recruits, you're banging on the SEC title door.
Yes.
Otherwise, wrong hire. Good point.
Like, look, you're LSU. You've got this great fertile recruiting base. You've got this amazing program, and you just went and made the massive splash hire of splash hires, getting the first coach in the history of Notre Dame to ever leave Notre Dame willingly. You should be 8-4 this year. If you get to 9-3, you get a massive pat on the back and say, maybe we can compete next year. But my thing is 8-4 this year. Hopefully next year, 10-2-ish, 11-1. And then in Kelly's year 3, you are the perennial playoff contender, or on equal footing again, or trying to get on equal footing with the Alabamas and the Georgias, really competing for championships. But 6-6 says maybe we're a little bit further away as a program, and maybe Kelly, isn't quite doesn't have the magic wand we all thought he had.
No, and it's going to be interesting to see how. I mean, Cincinnati, I guess, is close to the South, and but guys, a Massachusetts guys, Notre Dame, up by the Great Lakes, Indiana. I mean, this guy's a Northerner. He's in the super deep South. We're almost beyond the deep South in Baton Rouge and in New Orleans. So, no, it's going to be interesting to see if they buy in and that works. Fletch, always a pleasure. Next week, let's find out about Fritz's team in the Green Wave.
That's cool. We'll talk about it. Let's do it.
Have a good weekend, Fletch. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, Corey.
That's Fletcher Mackel, WDSU Channel 6 Sports. That's Blue Boy. What, buddy? 93.9 FM, 107.9 FM, New Orleans. 5 o'clock power hours next. Blue Boy says, stick around.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home. Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAC.com, your cool spot.
For home surveillance, it's Tommy's Lock and Alarm. With smart home technology, control lights, locks, cameras, thermostat, and your alarm, all from your phone or laptop. Smart, safe, secure. Tommy's Lock and Alarms. Google them.
Where can you find shish kebab in New Orleans? Lamb, beef, chicken, shrimp, plus all your other Mediterranean favorites. Lebanon's Cafe on the streetcar line. Lunch, dinner, and shish kebab. Lebanon's Cafe.
Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, insagency.com. Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, insagency.com.
The Port of New Orleans Napoleon Terminal is nearly doubling in size, with 4 new gantry cranes being installed and over $100 million being invested. That means lots of new jobs, port traffic, and tax dollars for the city. The Port of New Orleans, your port.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
When you think of Fury's Restaurant in Metairie, you think about their daily lunch specials like red beans and rice, black-eyed peas, white butter beans, liver and onions. Daily lunch specials. Fury's Restaurant in Metairie.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
Space. The Final Frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise.
These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise.
A 5-year mission?
Its 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds. To seek out new life and new civilizations.
Boldly go?
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
I'm William Shatner. Everything's melodramatic. There's Drew Brees, number 9. Yeah, you're right. A Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Thank goodness. The weekend is upon us. 5 o'clock power hour. Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Did I already say, yeah, you right? I'll say it again. Yeah, you right. I love the 5 o'clock power hour on a Fantasy Friday. I like the beginning of the hour, a little bit after 5 p.m. We like putting the spotlight on this very time of the week, smelling the roses. You want to know why? Because we kind of just sort of roll through this period of time. I like recognizing it because 100% of the work week in the books. 100% of the weekend and weekend fun smack dab in front of you. Yeah, you're right. We put a spotlight on this very time of the week by blowing the 5 o'clock whistle. I said we put a spotlight on this very time of the week by blowing the 5 o'clock whistle. There it is. The 5 o'clock whistle. Appropriately brought to you by Super Discount Store in Chalmette. The name says it all. It's not just discount, it's Super Discount Store. Very, very discount store. More discount store. Ultimate discount store. Super D. The lowest prices allowed by Louisiana law on wine, alcohol, and cold beer. They don't have the coldest beer in town. They've got the best selection of cigarettes. They got candy. I can sit here and tell you all this stuff that a lot of other places have. But the other places don't have the lowest prices allowed by Louisiana law on wine, alcohol, and cold beer. It's not a special. It's not sale ends soon. It's not on select items or very few items. It's on everything all the time. It's simply how they do business at Super Discount Store in Chalmette. The lowest prices allowed by Louisiana law on your wine, alcohol, and cold beer. You folks that constantly are throwing parties, tailgating, that's coming up. You folks that are restocking the bar. You folks that buy, expensive wine by the case. You like your wine. I mean, you could save thousands of dollars over the year getting it at Super Discount Store in Chalmette. I don't know. It's like buy 10 months of your wine, beer, and liquor, and 2 months are free. I don't know how it would break down, but it's something like that. Save a lot of money. The lowest prices allowed by Louisiana law. Period. End of story. On wine, alcohol, and cold beer. Find out about Super Discount Store in Chalmette.
Super Discount Store!
Correct Amundo. Fantasy Friday edition of the program. 5 o'clock powwow. In about 12 minutes, Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans, Inc. will join us. Frank Brightson enjoying vacation week. I'm not going to bother Frank on vacation. We'll have him back next Friday when his restaurant will be back up and running starting this Tuesday. You thinking about Brightson's tonight or tomorrow night? Don't. They're closed. They've been closed all week. They do it every July for a week. Frank heads to the beach with his wife and family, and they beeline out of Dodge and shut down the place that's been open for over 35 years, one of the finest restaurants in the world. Brightson's in the Riverbend section of New Orleans. No Frank Brightson today. He'll rejoin us next Friday, but Michael Hecht's going to join us in a few minutes to talk about a lot of stuff. Pat on the back to Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans Inc. No, it took Michael Hecht and some other city leaders, civic leaders, to get together and form this NOLA crime coalition, this NOLA coalition, and it is a total mix. If you look at it, you look at a photo, you're like, that's New Orleans. It's old, it's young, it's black, it's white, Asian, Latino in there too, Republican and Democrat, hardcore conservative, hardcore liberal, even a few extremists in there. Business leaders, religious leaders. It's impressive because it is a true coalition. Now, you get some hardcore extreme white folks, they don't like the gumbo. You get some hardcore extreme black folks, they don't like the gumbo. These people like the fight. These people like the war. These people don't even know what the goal and objective is. They just fight all the time. They're never satisfied. They'll never hit their goal or objective. You could give them everything they want and they'd complain and be cynical about it. So those people really don't count. But the NOLA Coalition, that's what counts, and that's a needle mover. That coalition, within about 10 days of being announced, got the city council to have a sense of urgency on crime and pass an ordinance that basically gets rid of Jason Williams, today's DA, his ordinance he put in play a few years ago when he was on the council, banning modern day, present day policing technology like facial recognition technology and a lot of other things. Handcuffing the NOPD for absolutely no reason except what Jason Williams thinks. His woke, hyper left liberal ideology, criminal first, citizen second. It's like an experiment. Let's see if my thinking works. We don't have time for Jason Williams, any politician, Republican, Democrat, black or white, to see if their idea works, be a trendsetter. New Orleans should follow other cities that have had success. Louisiana should follow other states that have success. We don't need any trendsetters here unless it's about a party, a festival, boozing, hunting and fishing, and, Mardi Gras or something. Crowd control, that kind of stuff. We can be trendsetters. Anything else, the Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 stuff. City council, mayor, 39 senators, 105 House reps and BR. Don't do any proactive thinking. Just follow proven stuff that works. Please. Have a terrible track record when you try to proactively think. Corey Johnson with you. No, I love the coalition. Michael Hecht's going to join us. We're going to see if that NOLA Gumbo coalition can take on other objectives that the city, needs. Things to move the city forward. Things that there's a consensus that this coalition's in agreement on, like crime. Like better education. There are a bunch of things they can tackle and kind of supersede, override the hack politicians, force their play where they've got to react because it's the citizens, this coalition, that's saying what's at stake, what we want done, not what you politicians, we voted you in, what you want done on your timetable. This is what we want done. The citizens are talking. No, I love it. It got the needle moving big time fast. Now, J.P. Morrell yesterday voted against that crime technology being used. I didn't like that. I thought that was a bad move by J.P. Morrell. But J.P. Morrell, you could argue more than made up for it, or at least made up for it. And I know he believes in everything he voted for. That's fine. I'm just saying I disagree. I do like this, though. He voted basically on $1,000 cap on city officials going on a trip. $1,000 cap. Unless it's something, urgent city official business. And sister city agreement doesn't apply to that. Nothing urgent on that part. The pre-Switzerland, pre-France total for 2022 for LaToya the Destroyer and her junkets, none of them producing a single job or a single dollar. You don't think she would have been bragging about if a nickel would have come in? If, hey, it's a part-time job. It's a snowball stand. But we got him 20 hours a week. You don't think she'd be bragging about that? Not a single job created, not a single dollar brought in. Over 80 grand of taxpayer money. Pay a couple of cops, buy some squad cars, put up some cameras, you know. I can go on, fix a pothole or two. 80 grand. So the mayor can enjoy junkets. Basically a city-financed vacation. The Switzerland trip, and then just the brazen attitude of 3 weeks later going to France and the same lame sister city agreement crap. JP Morrell said enough's enough. $1,000 cap on these trips. That's what we'll pay for. The rest is on your dime. That is going, once that passes, that is going to shut down most of LaToya the Destroyer's junkets. There'll still be a few. She'll come up with someone else to pay for it. She'll come up with some sleazy, slimy way for someone else to pay for it. But anyway, I like that. Jason Williams, day 5 of his federal tax fraud trial. I'll fill you in on that a little bit later in the program. When we come back, Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans Inc. joins us, hopefully with some good economic news too. Stand by.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAC.com, your cool spot.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamarck team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamarck Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
The Port of New Orleans Napoleon Terminal is nearly doubling in size, with 4 new gantry cranes being installed and over $100 million being invested. That means lots of new jobs, port traffic, and tax dollars for the city. The Port of New Orleans, your port.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
Come to Fausto's Italian Bistro. Age-old Italian recipes like the calamari fritti or spaghetti and meatballs. Lunch Monday to Friday, dinner Monday to Saturday. 530 Vets, a block before Dorignax. Fausto's Italian Bistro. For over 30 years, one of the premier security companies in New Orleans and South Louisiana has been Tommy's Lock and Alarms. And right now, Tommy's Lock and Alarms is hiring. Come and work for one of the best security companies in the region with great pay, great benefits, and a take-home vehicle.
Tommy's Lock and Alarms is hiring, and they're looking for you. To apply for one of these coveted positions, go online to tommyslockandalarms.com. Tommy's Lock and Alarms.
Super discount store in Chalmette.
3235 Paris Road.
The lowest price allowed by Louisiana law on wine, alcohol, and beer.
Worth the drive from anywhere.
If you're throwing a party and need wine, alcohol, and cold beer, Super discount store in Chalmette.
The city's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa with 4 area locations: New Orleans, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and Metairie. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. NOLA.woodhousespas.com.
Hey, the 5 o'clock Power Hour on a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Brought to you by Rouse's Markets. Best quality, best price, best selection. Tastes like home. Rouse's Markets. New Orleans, Louisiana, the Gulf South's grocery store. Mississippi Gulf Coast has Rouse's. There are 8 Rouse's in Lower Alabama, right down on the beach, and 6 in Metro Mobile. Mobile, Alabama's grocery store is Rouse's. Baton Rouge has 9 Rouse's in the metro area. Baton Rouge's grocery store, Rouse's. Home of Thibodeau, 7 Rouse's. Cajun Country, they're all over, including over 20 Rouse's in Metro New Orleans. A third of all Rouse's stores are in Metro New Orleans. It's your grocery. Head to your Rouse's tonight. There's one in your neighborhood or right next door to your neighborhood. They deliver. They got the Rouse's brand, high-quality items at about half the price. Rouse's Markets, tastes like home. 5 o'clock Pow Wow on this Fantasy Friday edition of the program, brought to you by Rouse's Market. Jason Williams, federal tax fraud trial, day 5. The IRS agent, Timothy Moore, took the stand. Bridget Bartholomew, his ex-wife. The ex-wife basically said lots of cash, dealt in cash, requested cash, lots of cash in the safe. Timothy Moore, the IRS agent, said total false amounts in taxes for Jason Williams, over $760,000. A lot of objections from Billy Gibbons, part of the defense team for Jason Williams. I believe at 5 o'clock, Affleck shut things down. So 21 minutes ago, they are done until Monday. The judge said all day today, made like 2 or 3 reminders. Hey, we're 5 o'clock. We're done for the day. 5 o'clock Power Hour, Fantasy Friday. Michael Hecht joins us from Greater New Orleans, Inc. He's grinning right now. How you doing, Michael?
I'm grinning right now. You know, it's hard to know whether it's a grin or a grimace or gasp, but my teeth are bared.
I think it's a grimace. I think you're smiling. I think you're happy because within about 2 weeks or so, 10 days to 2 weeks of this NOLA Coalition that you're a major part of, one of the first movers, a big player, you and just a few other peeps, getting over 200 people together, a true gumbo. I mean, it looks like a snapshot of New Orleans. It's old, it's young, it's black, it's white. There's some Latino, there's Asian, there's hardcore Republicans, there's hardcore Democrats, lots of moderate Democrats and Republicans. Everybody's represented. It's a true gumbo. And basically, they said enough's enough with this crime thing, mentioned some things, including using modern 2022 technology like other municipalities and cities use. And kaboom goes the dynamite. The council, with a sense of urgency, puts up an ordinance that kind of reverses Jason Williams' old ordinance. And a big victory for the city of New Orleans, a big victory for the NOLA Coalition, Michael. That was fast and furious.
It's been fascinating to be part of this, Corey, and it actually really kind of touching to see how much pent-up energy and willingness and urgency there was in the community, from the east to Lakeview to Uptown to Central City, for people just to get something done. And it almost feels like we've kind of created a political movement at warp speed, because this was literally just an idea 5 to 6 weeks ago Now we're up well over 300 members, including 125 or so diverse nonprofits, a couple hundred businesses, about 50 or so youth service organizations are interested in being supported.
You have people that are totally politically opposed on this coalition.
Yeah, well, I think that
which says great things. They're going to come together for the common good.
Yeah, it just shows you, Corey, that the politics and the social medias of our world want to divide us.
Yep.
And there's certainly some things where we are apart on, but there also are many more things where we agree. And the lower you get on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and we're about at the lowest rung, which is the life safety of our children and our families, people tend to agree. And I think that the literal image of all of these people standing shoulder to shoulder lit a fire under everybody and said, man, we just need to get something done. And, is it pressure? Yes. But I'd like to think that it's positive pressure. I'd like to think that it's us standing together for love of our children and love of our city. And I think that's why things getting done, but being done in support of platforms that were already out there and supported by everybody. We just maybe created the urgency.
No, you definitely created the urgency. We elect public officials around this city, state, country to represent us, and that's fine. And if they do their job, we don't need a NOLA coalition. I mean, Michael, Louisiana politics have a horrible reputation for a reason. New Orleans politics have a horrible reputation for a reason. There's been a history of ineptness at best, corruption at worst, criminal activity. A city that's been kind of spiraling downward for the last 40 or 50 years, where Texas is the fastest growing state in the country, and the South's the fastest growing region, and we missed this rocket ship completely. Not the boat, a rocket ship. And I don't know if our politicians alone can do it like the model is supposed to be, working. So this NOLA coalition, which was about crime in New Orleans, and obviously you guys aren't done. You got a major spoke on the wheel accomplished. There's more to get done. But not trying to be greedy, Michael, but can this NOLA coalition be used for other common sense consensus topics where everybody's in agreement? They're Republican and Democrat, black, white, you can throw it out the window. We all want safety. We all want better schools. I mean, I got a list. You want me to rattle off the list?
No, I think that's right. What's interesting about this is that, so right now we have two platforms. One is for public safety and one is for investment in youth services.
Yep.
And we've made some good progress on both. Ladder and Bloom, Bob Merrick made a very generous $500,000 investment in our youth services platform. So we're already about 1.3 million or so plus towards our $5 million goal for year one. And if we have success in these two areas, then I could see us moving to things like mental health, like infrastructure and draining, like coastal restoration.
Yes.
Any of these issues where doing the right thing and doing the smart thing come together, and where, most people, 80% of people agree, this could end up being a powerful source of support and pressure. And look, there are some people that don't agree. Over the past couple of days, I've been called a fascist. I've been called a socialist. The most recent one is that I was called part of a large Zionist conspiracy, which is not only hysterical, but vaguely anti-Semitic. But, I think what that shows, like a good divorce lawyer, it means you're doing your job because you don't have total happiness on the extremes of either side.
I was telling Fletcher Mackel what Buddy D told me a long time ago. Corey, it doesn't matter if they're talking good or talking bad about you, just as long as they're talking about you. And at first I was like, why would you want anyone talking bad about you? But what Buddy meant was not everybody's going to agree with you. There is no politics here with you, Michael. There is no, this agenda or that agenda. It's the coalition says it all. People are critical of you. Hey, then you're critical of black, white, old, young, Republican, Democrat, Asian, Latino, conservative, liberal, and everybody in between. That coalition is a gumbo, and it is a snapshot of New Orleans. So the folks critical of you, I don't mean to sound like Jeff Landry at all, but move, because, seriously.
Well, we've had some people who have come to us, and they've said, look, we do this work on one side of your agenda, but we're not interested in the other side. Or we
join the coalition.
Yeah.
Join the coalition.
We're not for you. That's totally fine.
Yeah. Or join the coalition and maybe you can sway people your way, but don't complain from the outside. We have this open door. It is a gumbo all New Orleans. You're not being a part of it. You don't know what's moving forward with this. It could be something that people would consider conservative leaning. It could be something that people consider liberal leaning. It's a gumbo group that wants to better New Orleans. This is just the first thing. It's all positive. Now that's sort of shocking to me, Mike. I'm glad you're a duck and letting that just roll off your back. That's pathetic.
Oh yeah, no, it's a sign that we're doing something right.
Yeah.
And I think that the emotion that I'm getting from people is a combination of excitement and relief. Excitement that they can do something, and relief that there's a vessel to pour themselves into now. And for me, it's just been a very humbling and touching experience to see folks come together.
Yeah.
And the closest thing that it reminds me of at the emotional level is post-Katrina.
Yes.
When folks kind of put it all aside and came together to save the city. And this has that same kind of tone to it. So, we got to keep it going. There are going to be bumps in the road. But even, I was talking to Eugene Green earlier today.
Another Ivy Leaguer like yourself. I can't even get in that same conversation with you smart guys. But anyway.
And so I'll let that one roll off like a duck too. But, he was saying, look, even the fact that we came out with this anti-stunt driving, anti-donut proclamation that was made by the council and the mayor, and people might have said, well, that was ridiculous. It's already illegal. Why do we have to say it? But somehow just saying it kind of begins to create an idea that it's not going to be tolerated. And these things seem to have melted away. And so just by us beginning to pay attention to the quality of life and life safety and creating more security, to some degree it becomes self-fulfilling. I'm not saying we're going to fix this tomorrow. You don't change stuff that was decades in the making overnight.
Yep.
But everybody leaning in will have a cumulative effect. And I think that if you look at the numbers and look at public opinion, by the end of the year, I would expect, if we're successful, that you would see better numbers, more hope, more sense that things are getting back on the right track than we saw in recent numbers.
Michael Hecht's with us for a few more minutes from Greater New Orleans, Inc. No, it was a huge day yesterday when the city council, by a 4-2 vote, they will start using all of this technology that's been missing. It doesn't solve the crime problem, Michael, but instead of sort of handcuffing, pun intended, the NOPD, you're unhandcuffing them. There's a lot of stuff that goes on this utility belt. Facial recognition technology is the big one that everybody talks about, but it's license plate readers, it's gunshot detection, it's cell site simulators, it's predictive policing, it's surveillance. It's 2022 police technology.
Our lives are technology. And in fact, the telephonic device that I'm speaking to you on right now is probably the greatest surveillance mechanism of all. So to denude a police force, which is about to emerge from a consent decree, and which has been described by some very progressive people that I speak with as being one of the better police forces in terms of constitutionality in the country right now, to denude them of this technology as if we're kind of trying to have a Luddite police force and then expect results with greatly depressed numbers is incredibly naive or cynical. I mean, let's give the guys a break and the gals a break. And so Another thing happened yesterday that didn't get as much attention, but also retention bonuses now and in the future were passed, which some people criticized and said all we're doing is giving them severance money. But what people don't get is that it's not really about the money. It's about the respect that this shows the police. It's about the morale boost of folks actually giving them some reward. And I think that morale boost is the most important reason to do the retention bonuses more than the dollars themselves.
Hey, but what other things need to be pushed with the NOLA Coalition? You got the technology thing. How about the DA, the judges? If not, maybe my hypercritical comment of like getting them, to stop being so woke and hyper liberal on policing. Forget about that criticism. How do we get the DA, the judges, the NOPD, all on the same page? Because that's how you win the war of crime. Everybody's got to be on the exact same page, Michael. And right now, the sheriff thinks differently a little bit than the police chief. The DA and the judges think differently from the NOLA Coalition, maybe. How do you get all the, cogs working together so we can really take a bite out of crime?
Well, thank you, McGruff.
Yep.
Well, one of the basic things is not about philosophy. It's actually about processes. And so one of the areas that's on our, and by the way, anybody that wants to see the platform and the coalition, it's all totally transparent. They can go to nolacoalition.info, nolacoalition.info, and I encourage folks to go there. But what is that? All of these different parts of our system simply need to. Right now, we have a situation where if a person goes into the system, there is not a uniform tracking number for that individual when they go from the sheriff to the court system, and then whether they're going to be released or monitored or go into the prison system. They actually have a different number effectively in each of those silos, which makes it very difficult to track people. And so you can have some tragic results, whether it's people who are not treated fairly or individuals who effectively get lost in jail waiting for their trial.
Yep.
It creates a lot of inefficiency. So a lot of what we need to improve is just generic internal processes, whether it is tracking systems or, for example, there's now an idea that the police force needs a chief operating officer who would do nothing with policing and everything with just running a complex organization, or a head of an HR department, which we don't have in the police right now, who it would seem would be able to help with recruiting. So a lot of what we're focusing on is not about criminology and very specific topics to crime, but how do you run a complex system in an integrated and efficient way? And those are generic business problems, not specific to the NOPD or our DA or judiciary.
Michael Hecht's with us for a few more minutes. He's with Greater New Orleans Inc. Every week he joins us. Every week this segment's brought to you by Latrim, the global manufacturing giant. If you live on the East Bank or West Bank, Latrim's Elmwood facility is hiring. If you live on the North Shore, Latrim's Hammond facility is hiring. For a full listing of positions available, and it's not 2 or 3 job openings, it's dozens and dozens and dozens of job openings. A career for you. Go to Latrim.com. Latrim spelled L-A-I-T-R-A-M, Latrim.com. Hey, Michael, how do we get, I don't mean to sound snobby, but I pass on work to other people and let them fill out paperwork and edit and do things like that. And I focus in on doing my show. How do we get police purely policing, like fighting crime, the guys and gals in the blue shirts armed in the squad cars, and then just have like kind of sworn in deputy types that are laymen's that do paperwork. So the cop brings in someone, instead of him sitting there for 3 hours and filling out paperwork, there's someone there that'll fill it out. Instead of cops, at a desk, they're in a squad car and a citizen's doing that work. How do we, there's already stuff police do, Michael, that everyone agrees with, mental health they shouldn't be messing with, noise violations, traffic, speeding, and tickets and stuff like that. How do we get rid of the NOPD, especially when there's like 900 of them instead of 1,500 of them? How do we get them just policing and then change? We need a dramatic change. How do we get just citizens and laymen doing all this bogged down stuff that gets cops doing paperwork instead of arresting criminals?
Well, I think it's a two-part process. The first is just analyzing. It's almost like a time motion study, I think they call it, and seeing how a post-certified officer spends his or her time every day. And I think what that would reveal is that our officers spend a very small percentage of their time doing actual police work, which is what I would assume most of them want to do. It's why they joined the force, and they didn't join the force to do desk work or to do paperwork. I just can't imagine that for most of them.
None of them.
That's very fulfilling,
none of them,
right?
No, it makes them mad, probably.
Yeah, but then you got to go into the bureaucracy and the legalities of getting it changed. Let me give you an example where we've been successful. There is an organization called On Scene Services, which takes civilians, generally retired officers, and uses them to respond to fender benders, to non-serious fender benders.
Smart.
Do the paperwork, do the insurance, and free up the post-certified officers to go and do more important work. That organization is growing. It's a partnership with NOPD. Gulf Coast Bank just made a significant donation to help grow that organization.
Nice.
And I think that's a public-private model that you'll see grow over time. But it didn't happen overnight. There were a lot of legal issues, as you could imagine, that had to be dealt with the police, with the insurance companies.
Sure.
And then after that, we had to do a pilot to see if it worked. But now that it's growing. And so I think in all these areas, we have to come up with pilots, deal with the issues, whether it's civil service or the law or the police union, the benevolent association, and just figure out how to pilot the change. But what On-Scene Services shows you is that with enough focus, you can actually implement the common sense approach to taking cops off of work that they don't want to be doing and let them do what they are paid to do and what they are passionate about doing. So it's not going to, again, happen overnight, but we're beginning to see ways that it can happen.
Michael Hecht's with us from Greater New Orleans saying, I didn't see the movie Dumb or Dumber, but I didn't need to. I got New Orleans and Louisiana politicians, Dumb and Dumber. I'm not really worried about the $39 million line of credit for the Sewage and Water Board. I think that's going to get taken care of. I don't think it's going to slow down construction that's going on as we speak on the corner of, I guess, Claiborne's and Monticello, let's call it, right by the parish line. So that power plant, much needed new on-site power plant, I think is a go. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. And second, just the petty politics here, Michael's nauseating. I mean, first off, the city's making a threat that's unenforceable. Hey, we're going to be in a poor abortion hotbed. We're going to ignore the law. No, you're not. And then you get this. You have a stay right now where abortion is still legal, but the AG wants to get into politics, so he goes to the bond commission, and the bond commission, foolishly, silly in a way, votes to hold back this $39 million line of credit for the Sewage and Water Board. Take on those two questions, or one comment and question.
Yeah, that whole thing is a burlesque. It's ridiculous at every level.
Yep.
But I guess the answer, I kind of go back to the NOLA Coalition, that what's interesting is that at least at the local level, it shows that if voters together and basically focus on the issue, that we can transcend this partisan and petty political nonsense. It's probably harder to do at the state level, but it can be done at the state level and it can be done at the national level. And you're beginning to see some movements for either third parties or fusion parties that stake positions in the middle that are essentially technocratic and try to support candidates that behave in that way. I would like to believe that there is a revolt of the people that's going to begin to happen throughout the country, where voters begin to reject this type of behavior at all levels and insist on getting things done and reward those politicians that behave in that way. But as long as we tolerate it, or as long as we reward it, then the incentives aren't going to change and the behavior won't change. So I think at the end of the day, we have to hold ourselves accountable as citizens and voters, and drive the change ourselves, because elected officials are going to respond rationally to the incentives that they have to stay in power and regain power. And so it's up to us to change those incentives.
Michael, I think it's really under-discussed nationwide. I think Hollywood ignores it. Television ignores it. The other day, it was barely mentioned. On Wednesday, 53 years ago today, I mean, it's one of mankind's greatest achievements. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin touched down on the moon. New Orleans played a big part of that. It's amazing how America just sort of downplays that. I think 7% of Americans don't believe it happened. In Russia, it's like 27%. It's hysterical. Anyway, not recognized. We had such a big part of it.
We did. We are gonna put the first woman, the first person of color on the moon in 2024. We're going to put humankind on Mars. I think they're shooting for 2028. We're building the longest windmill blades in the world right now down at Michoud, 107 meters long for GE. Allen Wind Power is doing that. There's a lot of spectacular stuff that's coming out of Louisiana. And I think what's so frustrating about the crime stuff and the infrastructure stuff is that there's so much good that's going on here right now in offshore wind, in space, in technology, in tourism. The soccer team that's coming here, that if we get the basics right, it's to the universe and beyond type of stuff. And so that's what's kind of fun, but also schizophrenic about the work that we're doing at Geno Inc. is that we're trying to play visionary offense and existential defense at the same time. And, that's where bourbon comes in to tie it all together.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Michael, backtothebeach.org. Those renderings are fantastic. I love this idea. I just saw no downside. Maybe Lincoln Beach would be next. Just it's so long overdue. Pontchartrain Beach has been closed for 40 years. Lincoln Beach over 60. Something wrong with that.
Yeah, well, look, I think we'll get this done because, like you said, there's no reason not to do it. It'll be an extraordinary amenity for people on the South Shore. It means they're not going to have to drive to, at a minimum, Fontainebleau and really out to Orange Beach to get white sand beaches.
Yep.
There's so much going on out at UNO with the beach, which is what we called. We renamed the R&T Park out there.
Yep.
As an homage to Pontchartrain Park and Pontchartrain Beach. Redeveloping our waterfront. Talk about so far behind, we're ahead. I mean, between the river district and the lake, we're finally recognizing that we've got stuff that people are paying a premium for around the world, and we shouldn't look upon it, only as something to be managed as a threat, but it's actually got extraordinary value. So I am all for creating better amenities along the lake, better dense housing along the river. Bring it on. It's what we need. It's what we should be doing.
Yeah, I'll never forget that Atlanta company that Kenner hired. I mean, one of the first things they said was have people live on the Batcher in Rivertown. Have people live on the lake. These outsiders are like, what's up, New Orleans? We'd cut off a leg or an arm to have a river or lake. And y'all aren't living on it? 1.2 million people, maybe 1,000 people live on the water in Metro New Orleans. That's insane.
It's wild. That's wild. Yeah. So we're coming around. This is just the nice thing about New Orleans is that we can see what's worked in other places around the world.
Yep.
Figure out what's been perfected and bring it here, and it's fresh and new.
Exactly.
And so, we never have that first mover risk.
No, we don't need it. I always say that about the city, the mayor, the council, the Baton Rouge. Don't think of anything. Don't be trendsetters. Follow proven leaders and just and run with that. Hey, Michael, I'll make a bet with you that you're not going to want to take. I bet you when that beach opens, Pontchartrain Beach in 3 years or so, that hotel finally gets constructed at the foot of Lakeshore Drive and Elysian Fields at the beach, office complex at the. I think that there's talk of a hotel going there years ago. I think they'll build that hotel by the old light, the old
Oh yeah,
tower.
Yeah, I mean, I would not bet against that at all. I wouldn't bet against that any more than I'd bet against Zion being MVP this year.
Wow.
There are a lot of signs pointing towards a lot of interesting development out at UNO, and the folks at UNO right now are both tactical and visionary. So no, that'd be a foolish thing to bet against. And I'm a fool, but I'm trying not to act foolishly all the time. So you're right about that.
And Michael, I like, businesses coming to New Orleans. Somebody listening, watching on YouTube is going to be like, God, what a stretch, Corey. I think that Chick-fil-A for Tulane and Carrollton is tremendous. And honestly, I could care less if a Chick-fil-A went almost anywhere else in the city or in Jefferson or West Bank, North Shore. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just being like, it'd be sort of just like, be like Alabama getting another great recruit, but getting a Chick-fil-A in all seriousness on Tulane and Carrollton, I think it's going to really help that corner tremendously. And I think it says that Chick-fil-A is kind of like, the old becomes new again. That used to be the entrance to the city. Airline, right. Tulane coming in. I think they realize 3 miles away, a lot of old Metairie people with money. 3 miles away, a lot of uptown people with money. These folks love Chick-fil-A. That Chick-fil-A is going to kill it. And it could maybe spur some economic development for that street. Am I being silly saying a fast food restaurant can help that area?
No, there's a small number of retail establishments like a Chick-fil-A, like a Shake Shack, like a Trader Joe's, like an H&M, and at a bigger scale, of course, like a Target or an IKEA, that just signal a certain level of success. I can't explain it, but they're at that first tier, and they are magnets, and they actually drive economic development because others see them. And yep. I would believe that it creates development around it. At a minimum, it creates activity.
Yeah, entrepreneurs that don't have the wherewithal and money to go invest in some demographic study, or is this a viable location? They see these folks that do that, and they just piggyback on that. No, that's right. I remember talking to the DDD guy, the old guy that left the DDD.
Kirk.
Yeah, Kirk Weigel. And he's like, Canal Street just needs momentum, and we're having trouble getting that. But it's like, and I'm going back in time. You add like a Nike town, and then all of a sudden, Banana Republic comes, and then a Gap, and then you have an ESPN zone, and then and then tumbles. It just all of a sudden the whole block's hot and stuff's getting redone, and we just haven't hit that momentum on Canal Street yet. But that's how it works, right?
It's absolutely how it works. I mean, there's a lot of path dependency to urban development, and once you start down a good path and the flywheel starts turning, it gets easier and easier. But that first turn requires something to really crank it. And yeah, I mean, it's true. Something like a Chick-fil-A. We're also getting one Chick-fil-A down by our office, right across from us on Loyola, near the Hyatt, next to Hecht's Donut.
Is it a standalone unit, or it's one in a building?
It's in a building, though. It's in a building, but still, it's gonna.
Yeah.
There aren't that many options down there for lunch right now, and so it's going to be around the corner type of stuff, right below the Dave & Buster's over there.
Michael, it's been an absurd positive performance by me on this segment, so I'm not going to bring up the Six Flags sitting idle for 9 months. We're just going to say, Michael, you're the best. Congratulations on the coalition, making movement within weeks. Incredible. Changing the law in New Orleans within weeks, and it's just the beginning. So congratulations to you and those other few people with you that got these 300 plus now on board this gumbo coalition. Really great week, Michael.
Yeah, well, thank you, my friend. And, all the credit is due to the hundreds of New Orleanians who came together. That's why it's a coalition. It's really about the whole team.
Yeah,
so,
and it is. It's a gumbo. It is a photo of New Orleans. It ain't potato soup or tomato soup. It's gumbo, loaded, chopped, everything.
Ain't creaminata.
Nope. Michael, always a pleasure. Thanks, brother.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
That's Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans, Inc. It was a banner week for Michael and the city. Hey, Fury's Restaurant's open till 9 p.m. Onion rings and a cup of gumbo is the way you start. A large order of onion rings if it's 4 or more. Small order of onion rings if less at the table, 2 or 3. Got to get that to start. Get a cup of gumbo to start. And then you're going to pick some fresh local seafood, most likely. Speckled trout, flounder, snapper. Absolutely outstanding. You will not be disappointed. They're open till 9 p.m. tonight. Fury's Restaurant in Metairie.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.